Hi there, Mohan Muralidhar again. This channel name is Mohan Murali. You can call me Professor Mohan or simply Mohan. Yesterday, I put out a video defending the American dream. This was in response to Arnab Goswamy's passionate plea to people on H-1B to go back to India and then make contributions in India because India needs them. So that's what his plea was. And my response was, I defended the American dream, or at least American dreamers, and then say, okay, things will get better. You do what's right for you. Don't do it because someone else is telling you to do. I mean, that was my generalized message. Here is an irony here. And those of you who are watching my YouTube videos in Telugu language, I've been telling for a few months now, don't come to America, especially for the prospective students. Isn't that contradicting what I just said? No. What I'm saying is if you are planning to come here, I was saying wait. If you're already here, I'm not advising you to leave unless the circumstances say are such that that makes you illegal to stay here or something like that, in which case go back. But until the last moment, I'm telling you to fight. And who am I to say to fight? And what is my role here? Literally nothing. I don't have a good answer to it. I just want to be known as or seen as a community activist, supporting, say, Indian community pursuing American dream. That's one role I'm trying to play here. Why is that kind of support important? It's important because social media is ubiquitous. It's everywhere these days. And you never know which content from social media gets to you and then influences you, right? So positively or negatively. And one cannot fight this trend. So I'm trying to use the same social media to positively reinforce your independent thinking. The essence of my message in the video defending the American dream is twofold. First, it may seem too dark because of what Trump is doing now. In 3 years' time, things will get better. The second message is it's more or less for those who give freewheeling advice and for those who are already here, who are recipients of the freewheeling advice. Yeah, understand the irony here. I'm telling people not to tell people what to do and how to think by doing exactly the same thing to a set of people, right? Okay, there is a lot of negativity surrounding this topic, and stop reinforcing that negativity with more negativity. And here is the objective way of looking at the thing. So that's how I am rationalizing it. For that video, I received more than a dozen comments or so. Some of them agreed with me, some of them disagreed with me, some of them called me names. And I only chose one comment to respond to. This comment is by somebody named Palolem R9B. As I said before, I chose this comment because it gave me an opportunity to say something more, which I call a teaching moment, right? So this username is Palolem R9B. I don't know where this user is from. I don't even know if this user is from India or even in India, has any background in India. That's because my original video was in English. It could be from anywhere. I'm saying he as a generic thing. For all you know, this person could be a she. Anyway, this is not a very long comment, but I will address it in 4 parts. This professor is ensconced in ivory tower of academia. Trump's approval rating is at 44%. He is the only Western leader to implement promises made during his campaign. There are slight disagreements here. First of all, I'm ensconced in the ivory tower of academia. That's an opinion. So you are free to have whatever opinion about me. That does not make it true. Trump's approval rating is at 44%. I don't know which time frame he's talking about. The one I saw recently, they're hovering somewhere between 37 and 39%. He's the only Western leader to implement promises made during his campaign. Yes and no, he implemented certain promises, but the biggest thing people complain about him is he did not do squat for reducing the prices. In my 60 years of life, I never seen anything more delusional than the mindsets of some of the Trump voters. Those who wanted to vote for Trump, they came up with all kinds of rationalizations to vote for Trump despite what he said in the campaign. He said he will impose tariffs. And they said, oh, he's going to say that, he's not going to do that. But these guys who rationalize themselves like that are against tariffs. But they still believed he's going to reduce the prices of things, like magically reduce the prices of eggs and all those. Cognitive dissonance. Berlin Jews in the 1930s too thought like him. He means me, the professor in ivory tower and ignored warnings to leave only to be herded in the cattle trains. So he knows something about 1930s Germany. So let's talk about this. The parallels to 1930s Germany and today's USA. The current vice president himself compared Trump to Hitler. To my knowledge, not too many prominent Democratic figures compared Trump to Hitler, but it's is Hitler adjacent, etc., and all that. This commentary is drawing an inference here that Indians today in the United States are like Jewish. There are some people who draw that comparison because in 1930s, Jewish people in Germany are like very prosperous community. And in America today, Indians are the single most richest in terms of household income. Indian diaspora, something like 156,000, I think it's 152 to 156, I saw two numbers, per household per year. Whereas an average American household is slightly less than $90,000. That's a huge disparity. In my past videos, I may have just loosely compared Trump to Hitler or Republicans to Nazis. Do I really believe it? No. There is huge difference between the 1930s Germany and today's America. Yes, I agree there are some parallels. One example is Hitler came to power with his Nazi party winning only 33% of the vote. Trump, in his second term, came to power with roughly 32% of the vote. By the way, in earlier video, I mentioned less than 17% of American population. I may have misspoken as the electorate. It's not electorate, I meant population. Less than 17% of American population support Trump. Here is how that math comes out. There are 335 million Americans. Out of that, 174 million registered voters. So what that means is 52% of 335 million Americans is registered voters. Of that, 32% voted for Trump. That means these 32% of registered voters who voted for Trump only represent 16.6 or less than 17% of the US population. Will that number grow from 17% to whatever number that gave ultimate power to Hitler? It's possible. I would never say never, but I don't see any evidence of it. I don't know if this person lives in the United States or not, but I do. I watch it. It's not happening. It is shrinking from 17% in November of 2024. It can only get worse for Trump, get better for others. That's my optimism. That's where my optimism comes from. Yeah, if you want to torture this Nazi analogy, you can say, well, enabling act is the same as what he's doing with executive orders. You can say all that. It's possible. It's like, oh, history is rhyming here. I'm not disagreeing with the fact that there are some parallels, but there's also huge differences that he fails to see. I can go on and on and on in saying why today's America is not the same as 1930s Germany. Heck, today's America is not even the same as 1975 India. You know how many people Indira Gandhi imprisoned during emergency in India? More than 100,000 people. She imprisoned Morarji Desai. She imprisoned Jayaprakash Narayan, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, L.K. Advani. All these people went to jail. She harassed the press. Arnab Goswamy was harassed by her. And, well, look at the human rights violations. And she rounded up a lot of men, more than 1 million men, and then did family planning operations on them forcibly because she wanted to control the population. And she went on TV and defended it. Do you think America is anywhere close to that 1975 India? No. Arnab probably has a nose for trends which an academic cloistered in campus would never pick up. Man, times have changed and the good times are not coming back. This one is loaded. First of all, he gives kind of credit to Arnab, not really directly saying Arnab has a nose. He said probably. So he's hedging there. But he's very sure, this commentator is very sure, I'm cloistered in campus and I would never pick up. You are wrong. Here is what I select. Arnab has a nose. He has a brown nose. That nose is stuck deep in the ass of Modi. You know what Arnab said in February? He was railing against anti-Trump people like me. I have been anti-Trump for 10 years and never changed it. Actually, it got worse and worse and worse. Arnab is the one who never saw this coming. Also, Arnab doesn't see the authoritarian tendencies in Modi. As I said, he has a nose. It's a brown nose for Modi and for BJP. And he also screams a lot. So that's where my disagreement with Arnab comes. Man, times have changed and the good times are not coming back. Very assertive. He knows the future. Whereas, and it's like, I think the good times will come back. At least I'm hedging, but this guy knows they're not coming back. Anyway, so, and then finally, this commenter says, ask the Indians in Uganda, not reversible, will get much worse. Again, he knows the future. I don't. All I'm saying is, I'm hedging. I say, like, it will get better. I'm hoping it will get better. Now, let's ask the Indians in Uganda. What he's referring to is 1972, Idi Amin, when his army took over the country, they basically, the Indians, when they immigrated to Uganda, they went there as laborers and they worked hard, and then they proved to be like very, I mean, they were very prosperous. And wherever there is prosperity, there is envy. And that's when the locals decided somehow the Indians there are enemies. And it's very easy to distinguish them because their skin colors are different and their complexions are basically facial features and everything are different. So he gave like 60 to 90 days for all the Indians to leave the country. And there was a chaos. Everybody sold everything at the rock bottom prices what they have, and just to save their lives, they went to all over the world. They went back to India, they went to Europe and all that. This is what happened. It was really pathetic. And I said two things to this. First of all, Uganda and America, don't compare. Don't compare. Please, come on. And that is not the same. Second, after Idi Amin died, many people who were native-born Ugandans, many of Indian origin, they went back. Yes, if you are an Indian at that time, or even for a long period of time in Uganda, things were bad for them. Once again, United States of America is not the same as Uganda. And if you believe that, I have a bridge to sell. And here is where the optimism comes. We all know what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. There was this pushback against how Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air by the FCC chair, hardball tactics. And you know what? It backfired bigly. There is hope. I see hope on it. Jimmy Kimmel is back, and there is nothing Trump can do anything about it. When somebody shows spine against this, things are going to look good. That's where I draw my optimism on small wins like this. Actually, that Tyler Robinson is not part of his comment. Maybe I edited that banner and did not delete that Tyler Robinson anyway. So one thing I want to say about this commenter is he seemed to have some idea about history, and also he has good vocabulary, and he knows how to use those words, fancy words, ensconced, ivory tower, cloistered, etc. When somebody who seems like intelligent puts out a coherent comment like that with historical references and fancy words, it might feel to viewers like, oh yeah, he knows what he's talking about. This professor must be wrong. I'm responding to that comment for two reasons. One, to defend my position, and two, to debunk that argument. It sounds like very intelligent comment. In fact, it is very dumb comment, misleading comment. This is the reason why I want to focus on this comment and explain my thinking on it, how I process this comment with what I know. Is that necessary? Probably not. In the overall scheme of things, what's going to happen will happen, but at least the few words I say might make difference in some people's life. Like for those of you who are facing that kind of a criticism from a family member or a WhatsApp university professor or a random shit poster like him, if my words make a difference in the way you think and the way you learn to push back against some unwanted advices from people you love or random people you don't know, either one, my message to you is stand up for yourself, stand up for what you believe in, and do what's right by you and your family. Same message, broader context. Thank you.